chat ready to go. I'm gonna say goodbye to Cruifa, who's still streaming, but I'm gonna get back to my stuff live for a little bit here, so let me... Okay, and there we go. We are back at it. Alright, so right now I've done a little bit of work off screen, off stream. So I set up some time stuff and I want to implement that real quick. I guess I should pull up a place where I can Google APIs again. There we go. And let's see. I need query performance counter. Query performance frequency. Okay. So what you have to do... Hey there, Skizzaclaws, how's it going? So the first thing you have to do to get this sort of thing working is you have to set a global frequency thing, so that you can divide by the right value everywhere. Let's see. Timer frequency. Skizzaclaws, I'm working on, let me check to make sure I have the title correct now that you bring it up, but I'm working on from scratch game engine. I just started it this morning, and I think I archived the first video, and I'm basically just trying to yeah, it's got the right title this time. I'm just trying to basically get a basic game engine up and running. That I'm experimenting. There's a couple things I'm doing. One, I'm trying to get a better game engine up than the one I used for my previous jams, which did not support shader programs, because I want to be able to play with those now. So I felt like I wanted to upgrade my engine anyway, and I decided to do a full rewrite because there's some platform layer structural stuff that I've been wanting to experiment with in 4Coder that I didn't want to do directly in 4Coder because of how large it is, so moving things around in there is a little bit slow. So I'm just doing like from scratch, how does this architecture look you know, when I first write it out, does it feel like a good idea? And if it does, then I'll transition to it. And so far I'm undecided. It's got advantages and disadvantages. The disadvantage is that it's a little bit complicated. It's more complicated than just straightforwardly writing the thing that you want, but the advantage is that it does a much better job, at least so far, of cleanly separating some things that I felt like were getting duplicated. Basically, all this code on the right here, it's not a lot yet, but this is the shared portion of the platform layer that every operating system will use that implements kind of features that are not really game level features, but that are shared across platforms. And this is the part that implements the operating system specific part, and they're compiled as two compilation units into one binary, which is a little different than what I normally do. And I want to see if it makes things better. Because then what you could do is just this thing on the left, you would swap it out for whatever operating system you're on. Okay. In the meantime, I need to take a look at large integer. Oh, just get out of here. There we go. Large integer. Low part, high part. Quad part. So I'm going to take frequency.quad part. I'm going to cast that up into an F64. I'm going to call that the timer frequency. I think I stored the wrong thing up here. F64 win32.timer frequency. Alright, so that gives me my frequency. And then when someone asks for time in microseconds, I will use a large integer. We need a query performance counter. Right here. And then, let's see, performance counter. And then, if I remember correctly, we have to divide by the frequency, or multiply by it. I forget exactly what this gives me. A variable that receives the current performance counter frequency in counts, because this is counts per second. So let me rename frequency to counts per second. Counts per second. And then what I want to do is I take t equals u64 of time.quadPart times. Now that's how many counts. Yeah, that's how many counts I have. So I want to do that times, or that divided by counts per second. And that gives me how many seconds have passed. And then I want to multiply that value there by 1,000,000. So I take the number of counts, I divide by the number of counts per second to get the number of seconds, then I multiply by 1,000,000 to get the number of microseconds, then I round down to the nearest whole number and return that as a U64. Okay, cool. And something we kind of want to do is whoops, denom. We want to guard that against division by 0 since, you know, we never know. So I'll just make that a 1 if we didn't manage to get it for some reason. Actually, better yet, we'll use this, but when we're setting it, we'll set it to clamp bottom that. Is that a good idea? No. We'll say if that is equal to 0, then set it to 1. That's what we'll do. And that just revealed that I don't have clamp bottom, clamp top. Clamp bottom AB is the same as saying take the max out of A and B. Yeah. Clamp top takes the min out of A and B. Okay. So that initializes my timer. Okay. Now that should give me a good time there and there, but I still need to implement sleep. And I want to check real quick. Sleep. What resolution does sleep have? And I also have to do like the setting the time or something or other. That gives me in milliseconds. This is the other thing I'm gonna need. So let's take a look at that. Time begin period. Highest resolution possible, and then sleep microseconds isn't actually possible, I guess. Let me just look around a little bit more. MSDN sleep microseconds. I don't like that. Okay, so what we'll do for a microsecond sleep is we'll take the amount of time that we've got, and we'll do a millisecond sleep, millisecond t, which is t divided by 1000. And if millisecond t is greater than 0, we'll sleep like that. And then we'll wake up. And that's our best approximation for now. This is not a precise sleep method. What we could do is end time target equals time microseconds, time target plus t, and then what we'll do is while time microseconds is less than time target, milliseconds t, so that'll sleep for most of the time and then spin off the rest of the time. Alright, time begin period. What are you in? WinMM. Alright, that's good. We've got that one set aside for inclusion in case that comes up. There we go. So now I want to see if this manages to actually control itself now, so it doesn't spin up at 100%. That's still spinning at 100%. Hold on. Let's take a look. Wait a minute. Control pause. While time target time microseconds. Okay, time target that number. We don't sleep at all. We skip ahead. Time end minus time start. Ah, there's the problem. So time end has to update right here. still at 100%. Time end. Gotcha. So time start equals time microseconds. Now it's behaving itself, running at just a couple percent. That's good. Okay. What I'd like to know is if it hits this a lot. Okay, hit, 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 hit. Man, that does hit a lot. Seems a bit odd to me. Time budget. Time end minus time start. That's kind of wild. In order for that to be true, we do time start. Time end might be a little larger than time start by that point. Okay, I want to try something. There we go. So resizing is causing it to hit, but yeah, it's still hitting. I'm wondering if after each frame, well, there's one way to find out what's going on there, which is to time start history 128 time end history U32 I time history I equals 0. If we miss a time frame, we'll go again from the beginning, and then what we're going to do is time start history time history I equals time end history time start history. We'll grab the U right there, and then time history I equals time history I plus 1 modulo the array count of time start history. First one will hit, and then a few more maybe, but I want to get to one that doesn't hit for a little while and then hits. There we go. Now time history I got to 10. I'm going to put that side by side with time start history or time end history. No, get out of here. Copy you. No, 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 no. Copy you to here. Time and history. Yeah, I can't quite tell because they're hard to read. So time and history 0 minus time start history 0. How does that look? And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And time budget. So all of those were eventually over budget. Not even by a small amount either. Let's see what were to happen if we did this. That doesn't make any sense. That shouldn't have made it. Time start gets ahead. The difference is huge. As in it ended way too late. The next frame came around. And these are all meaningless, but this and this are not. What? This, please. There we go. And it ended right away. Time end. Time start. Alright. Suppose I'm misunderstanding something? My time budget is 1 million divided by 60. Okay, that's right. Suppose time equals 0 at the beginning, and then we go through all that. The first time through time end, divided by times 1,000,000. F64 times divided by time end, time start. How is time end a smaller number? I want to walk through my timer function real quick. That is more than that, which is good. It's like a quarter of the size of that, basically, which means this is close to 4 million per second, yes. Timer end, timer start, time end, time start. Okay, so that shows that time has passed, and so it missed the frame time, which is correct. But now, if I go to here, it shows that time goes backwards. Huh. Let's take a look. Enemy mouse suggests there's some kind of wraparound possible problem. This is an F64, this is a 64-bit, this is 64-bit. I don't think I could be getting wraparound. Two, 3, 5, 1, 2. 2, 3, 5, 3, 3. Yeah, that's behaving correctly. Whenever I slow it down, it's behaving correctly, but at speed, it is not behaving correctly. Am I forgetting something here? Alright, so one thing I want to do is I'm just going to skip this part. And I'm going to say, give me the quad part, which is obviously the wrong number, because it's 4 times faster than a microsecond, but maybe it's at least able to make sense. Look at that, timer end has a smaller value than timer start, or time start. Time end got set here. Time start. I want to break right there. This is returning straight from query performance counter now. Time time end is 1 count above time start. Now they have the exact same value. Not sure. I'm not sure if that makes sense. Now this is 1 count above this. Okay. Now if I go back to doing the full math, let me space this out. So this is millicounts there, and then milliseconds is millicounts divided by timer counts per second, and then finally milliseconds rounded back to 64. Now they're equal. End is 1 more than start. Okay, so end is now equal to start, and if they're equal, then what would happen is we would sleep for... Oh, I see what's going wrong. I did that math right there wrong. Time budget minus time end minus time start. Okay. There's jam. It's not spinning out of control at all. Let me just make sure it's still spinning though. Time end minus time start versus time budget. That's not good. Time end, time start. I see. So this is about the signage. Let's do this in a slightly different way. Remaining time equals 0 if time end is greater than time start. Remaining time equals, what's actually, hold on. Boom, boom. Remaining time wait, time end gets bigger, right? So that's used time. And what we want to do is say if time end is less than time start, used time equals 0. And then right here what we're saying is sleep for however much time it takes to get back on track, which is 1 full-time budget minus the difference in time, which would make it smaller unless time end is smaller than time start, in which case it actually makes it bigger by a little bit, so that we will wait long enough to get to the point where time end is closer to time start. Okay, this is interesting. It's not hitting the else case anymore, and it's not spinning out of control either. So let's see. Use time is less than, yes. Okay, so that was the problem. So the problem was that I'm trying to do this tricky thing where I increment time start instead of capturing the actual literal time start, so that it, like, over the course of time doesn't drift, just as a experiment to see if it can be done. And then if it does miss, it will recapture time start at the so that it's not trying to catch up. We're not gonna have it try to catch up, but I am thinking of letting it try to fall behind, I guess. Like if it needs to lag back more than it would if I just let the thing drift. It can do that. Okay. Alright, so the sleeping thing works. What else have we got to do? We need to be able to... Well, let me decide here. Right now we're not sending messages. I want to be able to close the window properly, so I need to do at least enough polling information to detect when the windows are closed and exit. So let's do that. Right now the behavior is it launches this thing, it puts it in a weird position that I haven't fixed yet. I hit X, and then if I go Control-Alt, pause, what threads are still running? This one is sitting there waiting for a message, this one is sitting there sleeping, so they're both still running. I want let's see, this is actually a note now. WM quit. Okay. So if we get a quit message, then what we want to do is let's see. We're going to pass a system message window close. Window close. I'll just say window, and so that comes with a handle. Call it the window light handle. I'm not sure actually, because the thing I get back is an hwind, but that, I mean, that does uniquely identify the window, but the user's asked to pass around a window handle, and it would be nice to be able to find the appropriate window and give them a full window handle, but I don't think that's going to happen. So we're going to call this a light window handle, and we'll just have a thing that's basically like well, I don't know. Let me think this through. Somehow I want to communicate to the user which window got closed when they receive this message. So basically, let me write out what this will look like. Message type case sys message window close default invalid code path. Wait, that's not right. That's... sorry. It's up here. And what we want to do is we're getting the message and we want to post it to the thread safe queue, right, which I haven't actually written yet. So this is all nonsense. What actually happens is right here we get that taken care of. Yes. But this is going to push onto the thread safe queue. So let me make that real quick. Global thread safe queue. Okay, so I want to do a write of this kind here. Message queue dot write I equals message and increment u. But I have to do this in such a way that I am bulletproof, so to simultaneous reads. So on a separate thread, first things first, write I plus 1 shouldn't ever equal read I. Or it's more like if does not equal read I, else issue warning lost messages. Okay, so this basically says we're about to write, and we want to make sure that we're not wrapped in such a way that when I advance write I, it looks like it's on the same spot as read I, because that's how we if write and read are on the same spot, that means it's empty. So if I advance it to such a point that they're both full, that it's completely full, it'll look like it's empty. So I can't advance it that far, and I have to issue a warning that we lost messages. Now, if we get that far, what will have to happen is I want to increment, atomic increment on write I, and I want to get the write index out from that, and write index. This is the only thread that will be using this, so it's not possible that after that test we accidentally increment right. So the only reason we're atomically incrementing this at all actually would be to make sure we're safe to increment from multiple threads though, right? No, it could also be to make sure that, yeah, the tests down there are done correctly. So let me see what could go wrong. Could someone... if a read happens in the middle of this, what could go wrong? Read would get I also have to do a modulo on all of those. So let me do next write equals again, this is the only one who can increment, so no one else can swoop in and increment before me. I'm just testing that I'm not already at a point where read is the only thing that could go wrong is that I could find out that I'm out of space, and then someone come and read right before I actually do the write, so that it would have been safe. So I lose a message I didn't really need to lose, but the only way to fix that would be to somehow atomically test the equality of these two things without them changing? Well, if I did an atomic compare exchange, I could say no, it's not worth it. Okay, so atomic operation increment. Why do I do that? Why don't I just increment it with a plus plus? I do that because it's possible. What happens if somebody reads well, the read happens down here, so let me see if I write that, if I understand, if I actually do need this. So next read in this case, well, all I have to do a read is sysmessage q sysmessage q read I, and this may be more than one thread polling, I guess, is a thing. So unatomic thing looks like this, and the only other thing we do is we go that if is if, yeah, we basically have a next read, next write thing again. Except it's like this. If test read does equal test write, then that means they're at the same position in the queue, and we just want to return false. Say we've got no messages right now. But if we return true, it means we got a message, and we read it by going boop, boop. Now if two different threads both come in, they could both use this thing here. Okay, so this is where I would use an interlocked compare exchange, right? To say I only want one thread to be able to read a single message. So whoever the test read index I get has to be unique. So the idea is when we get to here, one person and one person only can get the right one if they both have the same test read value. Now, if we get there and one of them has the same test read value and the other one has the same test write, they have the same test read and write value, we skip. That doesn't matter right now. But if we get past that, then we go, okay, here's what the next read value is going to be. Compare the current value to this. If I am equal, if I'm the one who gets test read, then write next read into it, increment it, and let me test that I got the right thing back myself. And if I did, then I go ahead and I go. If I didn't, what do? Do I keep on keeping on until this fails? I think I should. So again, what happens is we come in and we say, alright, we're going to keep trying here. Give me a test read and a test write value. If those are equal, then when the queue is empty, get out of the loop. We've got nothing. Otherwise, go ahead and atomically try to claim an index out of the read. If this is this are equal, it means we actually got the one we tried to claim. Otherwise, go again, we might have to end or get the next guy instead. Okay, I think that's right. Now, do we need an atomic increment on the right index is the next question. If we didn't have that, it would be possible for someone to write I think that that's unnecessary because we only have one person ever writing. So the only person who can modify write is I is there. The only reason you might want that is if you are worried that this would come back garbled up on the read if it could be modified non-atomically, which is possibly a problem. We want that to come back as an actual value of write I, not some, like, you know, partially updated thing, which could happen if it's non-atomic. And other than that, I don't think it's an issue. Okay, I think this is right. So now we have thread safe queue. We can pull messages off, and when we get a message, we do something. Okay, hold on. Interlocked compare exchange. Okay, fair enough. We'll use I-32s then. Really? You can't get from volatile I-32 to a volatile long? Okay. let's try this. No, I don't... I don't like your attitude, really, honestly. Okay, I think that'll work. Let's see. I should hit not implemented when I close the window. I should hit that not implemented. I think. No? Okay. Hold on. Right, so let me move main over here. Win32 right there. Yes, so the next thing I have to do still is I have to call a jam2 message, and I have to pass it a message. System message message.type equals sysmessage window close message.window.light window handle equals from hwind Okay, now something I'd like to do is go back to system decals real quick. The window handle takes a handle plus something else. I'd like for that handle to be used properly, which it's not currently being done. Win32 window, you need to contain an actual handle. Handle equals from hwind handle to hwind. And this is what? 56. So 56 minus the 16 for the handle. Okay, so it needs 20 more. That's 5 more. Okay. So the window handle needs even more juice. trying to figure out why it's still quitting, even though I've overridden the default behavior of that. I must be misremembering. WM window close. WM close. Perfect. So now it's posting up a message and it's pulling down a window close message. So now the queue up here should be on 1-1. Yeah. Perfect. Okay. Now when this gets the window close message, just out of curiosity here. 500. Alright, not bad. When this gets the window close message, it only has the one window. What I want it to be able to do is I want to be able to hey there, Canoogles. If, hold on one second, create window. Did I pass the wrong constants there for default? CW use default? CW use default? Yeah. It's very confusing. I wonder if I bumped this up, if it would suddenly start working. Or is this about window size? Oh, that doesn't give me the real position, does it? I know what this is about. Okay. This was fine. What wasn't fine was my set window size call. Yep, there it is right there. Screened client. I wonder if I should actually be doing that. Hold on. Now that I think about it, that doesn't make a lot of sense. Let me just try this. The doc said that it works in this client coordinates, but that doesn't actually make any sense. There you go. What do you know? Alright, so what we need right now is I want to check, make sure Yep, jam is not spinning out of control at all. Very good, steady. Now, we've got these two tests, and I want to be able to say, well, first let's close this. I don't have hot code reloading right now, so I can't keep them both up. Okay, so what this needs to do is given this, I'm going to take a handle, call it the light handle equals message window light window handle for, I want to go across all of the windows. If handle equals light handle windows I dot handle, then what we want to do is we want to issue some kind of close this window call. So window close windows I, and then we want to issue like a block 0 on windows I. But I want to first just, hold on, handle equal handle internal B32 handle equal handle A, handle B, result equals block compare A, B, size of A equals 0, return result, memblock internal I32 block compare A, B, mem size. What I want to do is U8 A putter, B putter for umem I equals 0, I is less than size, plus plus I, plus plus AP, plus plus A BP, plus plus BP, I32 result equals 0, return result, result equals, wait, if, yeah, result equals star AP, let me think this through. Yeah, BP minus AP less than BP. So what this will do is if A is, if the earliest byte of A that's different from B is greater than B, then it'll be positive here, otherwise it'll be negative here. And if result does not equal 0, we will break. And then that returns result. So there's block compare, and yes, that's how we check if the handles are equal. And so handle equal right there will work. Block comp. Ah, you're not familiar with block comp, huh? Jam to memblock.h. Decals win32 memblock. There we go. Alright, so yes. Now I want to run a quick test and see if I can have it correctly identify the one that I'm closing. So I want to do something like j equals I times I equals j minus I plus 2 times I minus j plus j. There we go. We can make this just one step crazier by rearranging this to look like this. There we go. Wait, that's no good. That's just I'm subtracting one of those out. So those are two separate windows. You can switch between them. That's cool. Now I close test 2. Oh, no change. Close test 1. Change. I equals 1. I equals 0. Wait a minute. That doesn't make any sense. 0, 1. One called test is right here. If I close it, I equals 1. It must be returning the wrong result. This is the one that should be correct. Let's look at this as a U8 star with 16 bytes. And B, oh, come on now, B, same deal. 0, 1. Yeah, those are the same. Okay, so we come in here. Result equals 0. Oh, okay. What happens when I am finished? I'm equal to 0. Okay, so it is equal to 0. That result comes back true. So I is equal to 0. Then it fails. Okay, that's correct. How can I be equal to 0? Light handle U8 star 16 Windows I dot handle Okay, hold on a second. Those are different. Okay. Okay, wait a minute. I know what this is about. Nothing happens. Okay, I get it. I get it. The bug is that it did not... Okay. It did not get the first close for some reason. So, what I want to do is catch it passing me the first close. I still want this in effect. Close. Close. Okay. So what has happened? I dispatched the message. It did a couple of layers of calling itself back, and finally I got a WM close message. And I'm saying, alright, well that is a message of type close. For the handle that looks like this, go ahead and write that. So test write comes back as 1, test read comes back as 0. That's right. Then my write index comes back as 1. You're giving me the value after the increment, huh? Okay. I can deal with that. Write index after the increment. Subtract 1. You're passing me a close message, and then I'm getting it right here. Okay. Good. Okay, now that looks like it's working. So just a little problem in the writing portion of the thread safe queue. But now it appears to be writing correctly. Yeah, okay. Good deal. Now we want to write something that can do a window close. Decals window init. Define window close window window close window handle window window close window window init window close window, and then we want to get W. Then we want to learn how to close window MSDN. Destroy window. Okay. Destroys the specified window. The function sends WM destroy and WM and C destroy messages to the window to deactivate it and remove the keyboard focus from it. The function also destroys the Windows menu, flushes the thread message queue, destroys timers, removes clipboard ownership, and breaks the clipboard viewer chain if the window is at the top of the viewer chain. If the specified window is a parent or owner window, destroy window automatically destroys the associated child or owned windows when it destroys the parent or owner. The function first destroys child or owned windows, and then it destroys the parent or owner window. Destroys modeless dialog boxes created by the create dialog function. Okay. Interesting. You're telling me it didn't destroy the window. Wait a minute, that didn't even... Okay, so I equals 0. The block 0 did work. Destroy window. I assume that this will come over here. Two is the value of it. Okay. That's not coming off of destroy window anymore. Weird. Okay, hold on. I want to see... Interesting. Okay, let the window be destroyed. Huh, that's weird. So it didn't work? Ah, it's got to go on a different thread. Got it. Okay. So, to close a window is a little more complicated. Okay, okay, okay. jam to destroy window, destroy window, MSG. I believe MSG can have a hwind in it. Yes. And so what we want to do is say, okay, much like when we post it up over here, we're going to post right here. This time we're posting a message to a window though, so hold on. Post message. Yes. So that's where we'll go to hwind w handle destroy window. And now jam to create window, destroy window. Alright, now let's try it. Bloop. Bloop. But it's still running, so let me end it. So what we want to do is we want to say at the end of each of these, (32) window count equals 2. It's less than window count. Window close. Alright, so what we'll do is we'll say after this we break, but before that we go if I plus 1 is less than window count. Then what we want to do is we want to say then window count minus 1 minus window count. Okay, then Windows I equals Windows window count. Just copy that back, and for good measure, continue to block 0 out the last window, like so. So we'll just copy that guy back to our location and then break out. And what we'll do is we'll say at any point down here we can go if window count equals 0, then break. So now all we have is the main thread, and what I want to be able to do is I want to be able to say then program exit Decals define program exit exit. Program exit. Win32, window init, program exit. Okay, so if someone calls program exit, that won't be called from win main, so I'm just going to assert that that does not equal that, and then post thread message and then we also want to do a thing that's like exit thread. wmjam2 exit program will actually be our base right there. So down here, if he gets exit program, it can then do keep looping equals false. And that will close the program. Okay, so we've got two windows. I'm going to close this one, and I'm going to close this one. And hey, the program has exited. Do it the other way around. I'm going to close this one, and then this one, and the program exits. Great. Okay. So now we are capable of detecting window close events and actually issuing destructions of windows. I want to change one little thing, which is that under Decals I called that window close, but that's not quite right. This is more like window close button. There we go. And let's see. So we have a message protocol and a game loop are both up and running, basically. So now I want to get OpenGL init happening, I guess. And the question there is, where do I want to put it? Who wants to be in charge of that? Let me go read some other code that does OpenGL init real quick from the old Jam engine. render startup. Okay, here's my code that does it. And it does the wiggle stuff. Yeah, okay. And where do I call render startup? From over here. Render startup. I see, so I'm just passing it in the DC. That's what you need. Gotcha. Okay. So, it's a platform-specific thing how you initialize a particular one of these things. Okay. So, for instance, jam2 win32 jam2.main. What I want to be able to do is something like one other thing I'd like to try real quick. Suppose I hit Alt F4. Yeah, that closes the windows too. Good. Goody. Okay. Now, I go full screen with both of them. No. Okay, there we go. Oh, hey there, Temelemsitter. I give up. It doesn't look that hard. I'm just not. Temelem setter, I believe. No, this isn't very much forcoder related. The only forcoder related thing here is that I'm doing a little bit of an experiment with the platform layer to see if I like this structure better for forcoder. But mostly this is for making a game jam in about a month and a half. Well, in about a month and a week. Well, in about a month at this point. About a month from now, I'm going to work on a game, a week-long game project, and I want a new engine for it. Okay, so let's see. Let's see, the full screen, right, and then I wanted to do window Opengl. So this is where things get tricky, so I don't know if I can do I don't know if I can do 2 windows of Opengl. I don't know if I know how to do that. So that is, let's start with one window of Opengl. We'll make the other one a non-full screen window, and see if I can figure out how to do it. And then once I've got one of them working, we'll see if I can get 2 of them working. So, Decals. Let's see, somewhere in the window region. Yeah, right about here. Well, let's see, I think, let me organize this a bit. This deserves this. This is all that stuff. This really kind of deserves its own thing here. Window enable Opengl window. Window handle. Window enable Opengl. No, I don't need to use glue, GLEW. I always just do it by myself at this point. But you don't have to create another window, you have to create two contexts is the thing. You create one context, destroy it, and create another context. But you don't need two windows. Alright, so let's see, to do this all we have to do, well let me put this in the right order, right above program context. Jam to Win32, program exit, window, enable OpenGL, window. Alright. Now, comparing this to the original jam engine for now, jam rendering, or no, rendering Win32, that's the one I need. Rendering Win32, and I want to do some of this stuff. So, this I don't think has changed, except I know how to get double buffering working now. And pixel format. Choose pixel format. So I need the HDC for this to work. HDC. Get DC. There we go. Yeah, I'll show you, Valvis, since you're asking, I'll show you how I managed to wrangle well, I don't really use extensions, but how I managed to wrangle all of the loading stuff. Extensions are a bit harder, but I'm not really using them right now, and I'm not planning to for this. I'm going to use fairly conservative, modern OpenGL. Okay. So choose pixel format, HDC, PFD, set pixel format, HDC, end pixel format, PFD. Wiggle create context, HDC, I forget what that returns. Do we have that in here? Yes, HGLRC. Context 1. Then we make that current. HDC context 1. And that is about the end of usefulness for this project can give me. I believe 4Coder does a full initialization. Wiggle create context. Okay, so all of this looks fine. We want to load up Opengl 32 DLL. And then we're going to grab each of these. Arb equals type. It's really just func, and then it goes func function pointer func equals func function pointer win32 load gl always func module gl load. We will create context gl load. There we go. Then what we want is if wiggle create context attributes does not equal 0 and format pixel format does not equal 0. Alright, we want this. Pixel attrib list. Yeah, I like that better. I'm going to switch U over to U, and let's see. Format, okay. Now, get DC. Let's do own DC. CS. No, it doesn't. Why doesn't it release the DC after it got it? It comes down here. Gotcha. Release DC. Okay. hwin DC. Good. HDC. Pixel attrib list 01. Standard format ID num formats. Alright. If result and num formats is greater than 0, the next thing we do is we grab this context attrib list. This requests the specific version we want. And there we go. We make sure that the extended format we got is the right format. don't actually want anything goofy there. And then extended context. We create a new context using the extended create context call. And there we go. We use the new context attrib list. And if that came back, we make this new context current. I'm going to call that context 2. And we get rid of context 1. And so out the other end, we'll do context setup success equals true. Full context equals context 2. So all of this is DC. Yeah, this should go up here. As of Gardner says, didn't Casey have some issue with double buffering on stream? I think OPS didn't capture the game with double buffering enabled. I think you're right. On the other hand, can you see ForkCoder right now? Because ForkCoder double buffers. You know, I'm going to try it because I suspect I know what went wrong for him on stream. Because I had a different but double buffering related issue that I managed to solve that was also causing me to have to single buffer ForkCoder, but I don't do that anymore. ForkCoder now is double buffered. Look at this. Right, this is the ForkCoder source over here. It does all the double buffering enabled. I no longer have to do like a stream mode where it single buffers to make it work. So yeah, I suspect that this is actually okay. There's just this weird state you can get a Windows window into where you have double buffering enabled, but you like set up full screen the wrong way, and by doing that it like doesn't play well with the Windows compositor thingy, like your alt tab stops working exactly right and stuff. Now, he didn't seem to have exactly the same issue, so maybe it was different reasons for him, but I think for me it works. It might have been, you know, completely unrelated. Why? But I know that I copied his full screen when I first added full screen, and it wasn't until I later fixed it that it started working. So we'll see. We'll see. Alright, so I want to take these two variables here, and these are the ones we're trying to set. You know, I can't remember, because this right here doesn't actually load anything else in once it's got the correct context. I get this feeling that, once I've got the context, I'm doing just a full monitor capture for this screen. Not sure if it has a special. Yeah, it's just a monitor capture. Okay, so what I need to do is look up real quick. I forget how exactly this detail works because I've done it before, but not in a code base that I can pull up right now on this computer. So, do I just use Win32 load GL always. Is that the trick? Yeah, I do need this over here, by the way. So that's the name of the thing I want to get. Wiggle get proc address. If that fails, we get it from the module. And there we go. Should really clean this up to be in my style at some point, because I like copy pasted half of it and haven't finished cleaning it ever. There we go. So I have to remember to load OpenGL functions on Windows, I believe, is what I want to know how to do. Yeah, this is the thing I copy pasted and have slowly edited over time. We'll get proc address. Turns null or failures on the return. GL32.dlo itself. This means okay. Right. Okay, so the thing I need now is like core arb. GL core arb. Old. Save. There we go. And I need what I basically want to do is I want to create I think I'm done with you. I want to go to here and open that. Yep, this is the right one. And I want to create a file that is glfuncs. To engine OpenGL signatures. Alright, and then what I do is I just have a little usage undef glfunc define glfunc nrp include jam2 glfuncs.h glfunc. Now, some of the names I want, just to test that this is working, are things like frame buffer, create frame buffer, or gen frame buffers. There we go. So GL gen frame buffers returns void and takes all of this. And let's see, what else have we got? GL func. GL check frame buffer status is a good one. GL enum. Not sure if it's worth it to try to keep these all lined up, but I'm gonna start off on a good foot in case it is capable. In case I am capable of lining them all up. Let's see, one more good. GL frame, GL bind. Yeah, let's get these guys real quick because we do need those at some point. Get rid of you. Get rid of you. GL func. There we go. Okay, so that's a good start, just to give me some functions to test the loader on. GL funcs, Win32. Enable OpenGL. Alright. So the goal here is B32 setup context setup success HGLRC full context equals 0. If we get this far and context setup success, then what we're going to do is try to load all of these. So to load them, GL load up there, we can end that one. This one is going to be GL func name return well, let's keep it. Name return parameter, GL load. In fact, let's name that more nicely. There we go. Name. Include jam2 glfuncs.h. So that should load all of those, but the problem is this load up here is declaring them locally. I actually do want to undef GL load and redef it over here to not have this. And then it should be able to oops, shoot, one sec. It should be able to load everybody. Now the problem is when it loads everybody, it's loaded them here. That's fine. I'm going to load them all in here for now. And if I have to, I will figure out how to load them somewhere else later. Because the next thing I have to do to make this work is I'm going to take, we can undef GL load, and I'm going to assert that all of these guys are non-zero real quick. See if I'm actually loading them. Delete vertex arrays, gen vertex arrays, gen frame buffers, check frame buffer status. Just as a test to see if everything's coming in correctly. And then I'm going to do something kind of like this up here. Where I'm going to say, we don't need that or that, but I want to say type def R n function p, and then put that in there. Undeclared identifier glue int. Okay, we'll have to deal with that, but first, I want to do this one more time. Wait, no. This is easier. Then I just do function pointer n. Okay, good. And then what I want to do is I want to put in a new header, jam to glDefines.h, glfuncs, bottom, and this will include Win32. This will include this, and above that, anything that else needs to come in with OpenGL. Like, let me go check jam code, rendering Win32, GL. Where's my include here? No? Okay, what about in rendering system? Rendering, include. Somebody somewhere has to be including OpenGL in this project. Include. Okay. Go away. You're not helping. Forward code Win32. Win32. What about your includes? There we go. That's what I want. That guy right there. So I include you. Are there any other things you don't know about? Right, so you need to know about wiggle. Wiggle. Create context. Attributes. Or could I do that the same way? I don't really want to do that the same way. Let me come over here again and pull up forecoder again. Win32. Oops. This guy and get wiggle create context attributes arb function. It's in another file somewhere else. Okay. That's fine. We'll do this a different way. Wiggle create context and we'll wiggle choose pixel format. Here it is. type def function type def function, there we go. Oh, pointer on the wrong side of the type def. Okay, that's the kind of thing we need. Who am I passing that to? Pixel attrib. Do you have all that stuff down here? Draw to window arb. Yes, okay. So we want all of you in our jam, oops, back to here, jam to wiggle defines. Whoops. Jam to wiggle defines dot h. Bottom, top, Opengl type and global definitions. Wiggle type and global definitions. Alright. Define. Boom. Oh, and you're upset because I haven't actually included it. That's cool. Include jam to wiggle defines. Include jam to GL defines. GL load. Okay, we'll pick a different name. GL func set. Type, okay, so this is going into the pixel attrib list, which we did not, in fact, keep up, but we can bring it back up over here by just typing in that other one again. I think. Wiggle type RGBA arb. Draw to it. We just need to look that up. Is it in here somewhere? Oh, there it is. There we go. One, two, three, 4, 5, 6. choose pixel format arb. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Wiggle choose pixel format HDC. Wiggle choose pixel format arb. Func. Choose pixel format arb. Pixel format arb function HDC. Not sure why that's not working. I'm gonna be right back. I wanna take a short bathroom break, but one sec. Alright, so this is saying that, by the way, what is the source of the lag? Is that an OBS thing right now, or is there somebody else participating? Looks like it's just an OBS thing. Oops. Okay, so what is your deal here? You're saying that this term does not evaluate to a function taking 6 arguments. 4, 5, 6. Now, wiggle choose pixel format arb function definitely does evaluate to that. So it could be that the macro is failing me somehow. Func definitely gets set to something. All of this information here comes in correctly. Hey, Tony to Demon! Yeah, it's a 2D game, but I want shaders. I'm gonna be doing some shader experiments for this game. So my old engine is not good enough, and I want to be able to load in frame buffer and shader managing functions, which is why I'm upgrading the context. But I've screwed something up. I'm not sure what. If I just change the name of this to something else, what happens? So now the identifier is not found. So here the identifier is found. It just doesn't believe it has 6 arguments, even though it totally should. I wonder how many arguments it thinks it does have. It doesn't take 5. Doesn't take 4. Doesn't take 3. Doesn't take 2. Does it take none? Okay. Let's go the other way around. Do you guys think that there are 7 parameters? 8? Nine? No. Okay. So you definitely are confused by a lot of stuff right now, compiler. I understand that. I can see your confusion, but here's the thing. I don't understand. I see that it's true, but I don't know why. Yeah, I didn't call it with 0 arguments, that's true. Maybe that's the one. Yeah, that doesn't work either. I'm just trying to figure out if it thinks it's a function at all. I know it thinks it's a pointer. Does it want me to explicitly dereference? It normally doesn't care about that, right? I got it. I got it. Okay. I put a star here and here. And normally I don't put stars on my function type defs so that they... Okay. There we go. Now I need to tell it about this. So once I've chosen the pixel format, the create context dude, I need to pull that page up again. We were just here. I'd like to be here again. No, not the wiki. Where was this? This guy. Yeah, I want all of those for my wiggle. For my wiggle defines. Extended context, if context 2. Forgot my semicolon there. Okay. Perfect. Now I need to figure out which thing I'm missing. Build. Which lib do we need here? Probably Opengl. Is that GDI? There we go. Alright, so now the question is, does it open GDL without failing to hit those things? Ah, it totally does. It totally does. That's interesting. Okay, so it does load all that, apparently. So the next thing I'd like to do is I want those GL set error, like GL error callback, or OpenGL debug callback, I think is what it's called. Okay, I would need at least 4.3 for that to work, apparently. Alright. To do. Find an pair of OpenGL. I know I can get to 4.5 on this computer, so I might as well run at 4.5 for now. Find the lowest version we can run on. Okay. But for now, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna say GL func. Now, why don't I just simplify this down to func there, and RP assert n does not equal 0, include jamgl functions. Now jamgl funcs, core arb, I want debug message callback. Let's see, you go right here. GL func. Okay, so GL debug proc. GL debug proc. So that needs to go in my GL defines file right here. Def void API entry GL debug proc. Yeah, let's see if we need that. Source type. Source type, ID, severity, length. Message, user param. Do not know what is these? Do not know. GL size I is what you don't know. GL size I. Define GL size I. Type def. GL size I semicolon. There it is. What else don't you know? GL char maybe? GL char. Why don't I just grab a bunch of you guys while I'm here? GL size I. That should all be available to me already, actually. Perfect. Alright, so I'm getting debug message callback, and I'd like to set that. One thing I'd like to do is gl debug sig n void n corarb gl debug proc. So we have source type ID severity length message. What else have you got? And user P, user D. There we go. So all together now, that is source type ID severity length message and user D. I can simplify this even more. Let's make this into M. Let's make this into sev. Let's make this into UD. Let's make this into L. There we go. And then type def gl debug sig gl debug proc source type ID sev lm ud. There we go. And now I can go back to here where it has now become possible for me to go gl funcs gl debug message callback min32 gl debug proc gl debug is fine. Gl debug sig source type ID severity length message user data. Alright, and that means I can do something like invalid code path, and I believe I have, actually I don't, okay. Cool. So now I should be able to get a message if something goes wrong. I'd also like to have an invalid code path right here for now. Nice failure system goes here. Okay, so it did fail to set that up actually, which explains why we've been passing it, to my surprise, all this time. Let's go through it more slowly. So those succeeded. That succeeded, and num formats was good. Uh-oh, these are coming out different. What's the difference? Draw to window, support OpenGL. Oh, that needs a PFD like double buffer, I think. Pixel type RGBA. RGBA 32, depth 24, stencil 8. Yeah, okay. So let me see if I can get that double buffer up there and see if that makes the difference. PFD double buffer. Wiggle, choose pixel format. Pixel format descriptor. Flags. Double buffer. There it is. Okay. Alright. Okay, there we go. We get a new context, we make that current, and we've succeeded. Okay. Then it goes through and loads all of the functions, and it asserts that each one exists, and then it calls this one. Okay, cool. There we go. Okay, now we're getting somewhere. We can call that thing, although I don't want to do that right now. As I think about it more, that belongs somewhere else. But now the question becomes, first of all, can I render to this thing? Second of all, when I enable this, I'm still enabling compatibility profile. I want to turn that off. But not yet. I'm going to turn it off in a moment. First I want to get it actually showing me something that I can debug with. So let's see, I want to go to main, and I want to start every frame here's the problem, is I loaded all of those functions, but I loaded them, well, you know, I guess this should work if I just say GL defines again on this side, maybe? Does that work? No. No, that doesn't work because that, okay. So what I'm going to do is, for now, we need just a quick and dirty way of saying draw clear Alright. That enables GL. Draw clear. This isn't the way I would actually have this system structured. I'm just getting a debuggable thing up on the screen real quick. Draw clear. Window enable. Enable OpenGL. GL clear color RGBA GL clear. I forget how these work. Let me take a quick peek. GL clear color. GL clear. I need like the GL clear color bit or color buffer bit. There it is. GL color buffer bit. I'm still getting stuck right there. Okay. Haven't done everything correct yet. I'm supposed to do some other stuff like flushing, right? I have to do like a swap call. So where is that? That's gonna be right here. Draw swap Decals. Define draw swap. Draw swap. Draw swap. Draw clear. Draw swap. Swap buffers. And now I need to look up here what swap buffers does. It takes an HDC and swaps buffers. Okay, we can do that. HDC equals get DC release DC, and we need a window. Really, this should be like window swap, right? Because then we can do this to get the HWind and then release the HDC. So that lets me swap the buffers on that window. window undeclared identifier. You're right. Decals window swap window swap window handle. Windows 0. Okay, let's take a look. Hey, there it is. Alright, so it is now drawing on one of my windows. We can stop today as soon as I have it drawing on both windows. If I have it coloring that window purple and this window, like red and green would be like yellow, then I have everything I need for the day, which is an understanding of how to create two contexts and render to them. Then tomorrow, which I may or may not stream, I'm going to be working on getting my shader managing system up and running, texture frame buffer abstraction, and then whatever else I need. Okay, so now the question is, if I switch back and forth like that, what happens? Okay, cool. How do I get multiple windows working? That won't work. Okay, so what I am curious about is, can I just Google this? OpenGL multiple windows in process. ABDCW asks, what keyboard do I have? I have a code keyboard. Let me Google it real quick. Code keyboard. Oh, get out of here. Their website looks totally different than what it looked like several years back when I got it. I believe, if I remember correctly, yeah, so I have a brown switch. With the, I got the numpad. I probably would not get the numpad anymore if I bought more of them, because then it would be so small, like not small, it would just be so like, I don't know, compact almost. Like this is a little bit bulky once you get used to thinking about like when you realize like, oh, I could have it just down to here. It feels so sleek without that, but I've got it, so it is what it is. Is it worth it? I can't remember how much it cost. I think so, because I've loved it for like 4 or 5 years, and I don't see it. It hasn't degraded in quality in any way. I forget what their price is on these things. Brown. So I spent that, probably a little less than that when I first got it, 'cause the price has probably gone up. Yeah, I think that's worth it. I mean, you know, there's cheaper keyboards, could be, I don't know, like Razer keyboard. Yeah, so this is like half that price, according to the thing I just glanced at. Laser Tournament Edition. Where's the pricing on this one? That's not even that much cheaper, actually, is it? Yeah, I don't know. I think it's worth it. I've not spent a single moment thinking that I got the wrong thing, except for the numpad. I don't want a bunch of people who don't know how to do it. I want someone who does know how to do it explaining it. Okay, I would need to learn about sharing between contexts, but it looks like I have to make a context for each I'd have to make a context for each window. Question from Haxoa: how does ForCoder render text? I use the library libfreetype to rasterize the text into a single atlas for the font, or now that it's UTF-8, a single atlas of 128 characters, and I keep a cache of whichever set of characters are currently most recently used, and I keep like you know, if it's something like 64 of those open, so usually you never run out of empty slots. But if you do run out of empty slots, you'd kind of get in trouble. But usually you're not using a wide range of UTF-8 characters, so the like 64 times 128 spaces that gives you is 8,000 possible characters is usually enough for any one person to use on one file. Right, so you don't usually hit any problems where your one file is switching out between so many pages of UTF-8 that it's a problem. But yeah, basically rasterized into atlases that are cached by UTF-8, by ranges of UTF-8, and then or not UTF-8, I should say, of Unicode, ranges of Unicode, and then it is all done in old style OpenGL right now, because I have not taken the time to properly upgrade ForCoder to use real OpenGL, so it doesn't do anything smart like keeping a vertex buffer around for the characters or anything, which it probably will do someday when I want it to go better. But right now it is not even really an issue, so I don't think about it much. But I'm more worried about in ForCoder the sort of properly abstracting the renderer more than writing it correctly, because if I properly abstract it, I can make it work on more things. Like the Raspberry Pi, it has to run on OpenGL ES, so I want to be able to swap out the renderer, which I haven't done yet. Alright, so what we need to be able to do is, for any window, we want to be able to set a context for that window. and each window will just have one context for now. But what we want to do is I want to be able to create a context for this window, and then what I'll do is 32 or Win32 window. It needs a second handle for its GL context. And then if we have if context setup success, then W gets GL context, OpenGL context, handle, yeah, so GL context. And so when we come in here, one of the first things we're going to do is if handle is valid, WGL context, then we're going to return right away, because we don't want to be creating a second context for a window that already has one. So we'll just ignore the request to create a new context, possibly issue a warning of multiple calls to enable OpenGL on the same window. Okay, and then what's going to happen is window handle, it's a GL handle, GL context right there, and set window handle yep, that's good. Hey, Cache Override asks, what is Jam Engine? Jam Engine means a game engine for a game jam. And I already have one, but I wanted a new one so that I could do fancier graphics stuff. And I wanted to experiment with a better, or a potentially better, an experimental, maybe I should say wacky experimental platform architecture, a platform layer architecture that I might want to use in ForCoder someday, and I wanted to give it a test run on something lighter weight like a Jam engine. And it's going to be open source. I haven't mentioned that much, but when I'm done with this, I'm going to open source it. It's not that it's going to be particularly useful. I mean, like the Ludum engine that some of those, like Zach and other guys from the Handmade community put together would be far better than this. It's just, you know, I'm going to open source it for fun, to get code reviews from people, unsolicited. Real Fiddly asks, when are macros coming to ForCoder? I don't know, it's a good question. I was actually just asking myself that earlier today on my lunch break. Like, what things should I work on? Because soon, like in November-ish, I'm going to take a month off of my day job to do a full month of ForCoder, and my suspicion is that the thing that I'm going to do, I'm not 100% locked in, obviously, but I suspect that what I'm going to want to do is just spend the whole time working on the Mac port. So if I do that, I might end up doing nothing but releasing a Mac version this year, and then there'd be nothing new for ForCoder except for that. But if I keep going, I would want to add more features, and I'm not sure what they would be. Yeah, there's a lot of little things I could do. The other big thing I want to do, so the first big thing is the Mac port. The second big thing is fixing the API, and I kind of have been, macros is something I want to fix. I want to fix once I have the new API for customization, because the new API is going to enable better control over, like better direct control over input and stuff. And like this thing I'm doing here is actually like practicing the kinds of things I'm going to have to do when I finish that API. Because I've been doing like the easier buffer upgrade stuff for that API, but once that's done, the API design is actually the real work. So yeah, I don't know how much I can get done in 1 month, but it would probably be not surprising to me if it wasn't until later 2018 that I got macros done, just because that's going to require the API upgrade, and then after the API upgrade, the macros will come pretty easily, but that'll be like one of those little builds that I do in 2018 that's like, alright, now that we have macros, let me add in, or now that we have the new API, let me add in all of the little things that should have been there for a while that I couldn't do until now. And one of those will be macros. Hacksoy asks, what's my day job? And I will answer in just a moment when I'm finished with this train of thought. HGLRC. Okay, so what's my day job? I work on a contract for Molly Rocket these days. So I'm not really an employee there, but I do contracting work for future technologies they want to explore. In particular, I mostly work on like art production kinds of like experiments. Yeah, real Fitly, so I'm wondering, what exactly is it you wanted to do? I'm a little confused, because it sounds like what you're describing, like find a file, what would that be? How would find a file work? Because there's already like, you know, this and this. What's the find a file? Like, search through recursive directories for a name? For a file name, or what? Ah, I see. Yeah, I mean, I could implement something like that. You could also implement something like that in the forecoder customization layer already. Cache Override asks, what will you be using for image formats, sound, and fonts? I think I'll just be using plain bitmaps. I might be using PNGs, or I might be pre-processing bitmaps into archive files. I don't know. It'll depend on how progress goes and what feels fun and right to do for this particular game. I don't plan to do anything too fancy. As far as sound and fonts, sound I'll just use WAV files, possibly make my own archive format again, possibly compress it if I feel like it. and if I've got spare time to play with that. And then for fonts, I'll definitely just be using plain old TTF files and STV TrueType. Yep, no problem. Don't mind answering questions. My answers to most questions won't be too inspiring because I'm mostly just making this being a jam engine, it's not really meant to have impressive features. It's meant to be like the kind of thing you can get up and running and finish a lightweight game in 1 week with. So like often it turns out to just be easiest to load bitmaps from a folder for that purpose, or to like maybe zip them and then use lzip. What is the name of that? Libzip. I forget. I think it's libzip. All right, so now. What was I working on? Right, so GL context equals, right. And then what happens is I've enabled OpenGL in each of these. What I want to be able to do is I want to be able to say, here I'm making this current. Afterwards, I want to make nobody current if I can do that. zlib, that's the name of it, yeah. Wiggle make current. Can I set something? Device context. Handle to an OpenGL rendering context that the function sets as the calling thread's rendering context. If it is null, the function makes the calling thread's current rendering context no longer current and releases the device context that is used by the rendering context. Alright, we're not going to do that. So what'll happen is after enabling OpenGL on a window, that one is current, and then what you can do is enable OpenGL window OpenGL current window void window OpenGL current window handle window OpenGL current. Let me rename that to current OpenGL. Actually, let me keep it the way it was, because this is technically the way it ought to go. OpenGL current window. Okay, so that lets me make that the current. So let's implement that real quick. Window OpenGL current window wiggle make current HDC WGL context to HGLRC. Okay. Window OpenGL enable window undeclared identifier, window OpenGL enable. Okay. Interesting. Okay. So we are getting somewhere now. So here's the thing. I don't want to do this anymore. I'm just going to say if either of these happens, we're just going to program exit from there. Okay? And then we're going to draw purple onto the first window, and we're going to draw yellow onto the second window. I'm seeing yellow, but I'm not seeing purple. Oh, right, I need to do window, and I can't hot load this code. Window OpenGL current, Windows 0, Windows 1. Now they're both blacks. Okay. Window OpenGL current. Okay, so just to be clear, if I do this, now there's nothing on test 1, and test 2 is black. Okay, hold on. Okay. Okay. Interesting. Okay. So it doesn't like the way I'm changing the current is what's going on there. It doesn't like OpenGL current getting called. Is that because of device contexts? What is that about? Make current? I'm not sure. So if I don't do this, what happens is the second window works correctly. Yeah. If I enable OpenGL on this guy second, by the way, can you guys see the pink when it shows up? Just curious. It's not showing up right now, by the way. but I'm curious if you guys have been able to see the pink once in a while. Like right now, can you see it? Yeah, so double buffering does work on stream for me. It's not a problem. That settles that. So now the first window is working because it got enabled second, so it was the one working there. It does seem like the call to OpenGL current doesn't work. That's why. That's why right there. Okay. Got it. So, let's go back to this being laid out in the way that makes sense. Let's go back to enable, make current, draw, swap, make current, draw, swap, and let's see. What was I doing? That's how you know I'm at the end of my rope for the day. I can't remember what I was just doing. Oh, I remember. I was fixing something. I was fixing enable. Right, I remember. Okay. You see, the problem is that I'm not passing this by pointer right here. I pass it by value, which is how I've been passing everything. But I actually plan to alter the handle this time, which is not something I usually do. Now, I think full screen actually also has this bug, now that I think about it. Because that also alters the handle. Ha! Sweet. So there we go. A pink background and a yellow window here. I can maximize this window, shrink it back down, put it right here. I can switch to this thing, switch back to this. This is pretty neat. Yeah. Okay. So, that's it for today. Don't stare into that pink color for too long. It hits you right in the sensitive spot in your retinas. Okay. Yeah, that's a success for today. We have everything up except for this last thing, shader managing. I'm going to add on top of that, so shader managing, frame buffer abstraction, texture loading and rendering, font loading and rendering. So these are the things that would be nice to have by the end of tomorrow, because I'm going to continue doing some stuff tomorrow. But that's it for today. Thanks for coming and checking out the stream. I will see you guys later. Bye-bye.